Hello, and welcome back to
He's a Rubber What? Today, we are going to be talking about Reverse Mountain and Whiskey Peak. Hopefully, just Reverse Mountain right now. So we left off with the gang leaving Logetown and traversing through the mountainous range of Reverse Mountain. Like, if you remember... when Nami shows us the map, the only way to get into the Grand Line is through
that really narrow
passage up the mountain.
Thingy,
yeah. And the water actually runs up the mountain instead of going down. There's like a current or something. I don't really get that part.
Yeah.
I never do. No matter how many times I watch it. But they go up the mountain and they're so high up that I just like this little detail.
The water freezes.
Yeah.
That was really cool. It was really pretty to look at.
It
too.
was.
And like they all jumped off the ship and they were just like, oh. And I'm like, why are you guys enjoying this? I would be freaking the heck out if I'm just floating, not floating.
Yeah, but it's like kind of really beautiful, you know. Yeah. Not a lot of people in this world get to see that sight.
Right.
A lot of people die at the bottom of the mountain, you know.
Exactly. That's really true.
And this is like the center of the red line. So this point is like where the equator and the prime meridian of this world like cross paths. So they're literally like in the center of the world right now. That's what I'm guessing. And then they go down safely and they're like above the clouds and they're like, yeah, we can't wait. We're going to the Grand Line. And they all say their dreams or whatever. We talked about that last episode, so we don't need to go over that again.
Mm-hmm. And then right when they're about to just slide down into hopefully normalness. I mean, you can't really get anything normal out of the Grand Line, but they see this huge whale just like sitting there basically. I don't think he was hitting his head just yet, but he was just there.
Wailing in pain.
Yeah,
you know?
And they were like, what the heck? And they thought they had to fight him. They were ready to like attack. They were on attack mode and the whale wasn't having it. And then what happened next? They hit him or
Luffy does.
Yeah, Luffy hits him and they're all freaking out because they're like, you impulsive twat, like why would you do that?
Like this whale, they thought it was a mountain. That's how big Laboon was. So the fact that Luffy just hit its eye, it was like they're like, oh, we're all gonna die.
Right. And then Laboon swallowed them all or something, right?
He only swallowed everybody but Luffy. And then Luffy
went through.
No, so Luffy started freaking out. And he was like, I'm going on adventure with him. Give it back to me. And then he sees, like, the whale is submerging. And then he, like, sees, like, a door on the whale.
So weird. That actually is the one thing that I wanted to talk about. The fact, I mean, you'll see it, too, like, later in the episode. When they're all inside, there's, like, an island, quote, unquote. There's machinery. When I was watching that, I was like, what? How did this guy build an entire... like machine thing inside this whale, and you're gonna tell me it's because he's this big? Okay, first of all, you need like sedatives, you need to do something to put this dude asleep, the whale asleep, for you to like literally drill metal into his freaking cavities. Like, that is just what? Anyway, that was just my nitpick moment. I wish they would just dedicate a whole like hour and a half to the anatomy of it all and how they were able to bring in metal shards into this poor whale's stomach and everything else and just create a whole... Anyway, I'll stop babbling on that part. It's insane to me. Insane.
I believe it. Like, Crocus is a pretty good doctor. Like, and he was a doctor on a ship and he's been a doctor his whole life. So it's like, it's not far-fetched to think. He's pretty old too. I can't remember his age, but he's had a lot of experiences. So I don't think it would be far-fetched for him to make... like, to be able to help this whale, he had to, like, make a home inside the whale so that if he goes insane, he can put the sedative. Like, you saw that huge shot that was, like, mounted. It was mounted into a Laboon. so that he can just push it in. Like, he did all that to help Laboon, which is kind of like a plus for me. Like, I don't, like, it's weird, yeah, but I've kind of accepted it.
I think maybe, yeah, I need to just accept all the weird stuff that I see in anime, because I'm just always like, no, that just doesn't work. But my rules don't apply to them.
Yeah.
I just need to realize that.
Yeah, especially in this world. What I really liked about Crocus's introduction was the fact that they did that gag over and over again. Like, they do, like, bam, they show, like, a different angle of everybody freaking out, and then it goes to him.
Super intense.
And what did they do? They, like, threatened to, like, hit him with a cannon, and he's like, you guys shouldn't do that. And then it, like, shows everybody's faces. Like, from all the different angles. And then Zoro's like, wait, why are you threatening us? He's like, no, I'm gonna get hit. And he's like, and then they do it again. He's like, what's Zoro? Zoro's like, what's your name? And then it goes, dun, 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 from the different angles. And then Crocus is like, it's rude to introduce, like, it's rude not to introduce yourself. Right. So, and then Zoro's like, oh, okay, I'll introduce myself. And then he's like, oh, my name is, and then Crocus is like, I'm the lighthouse keeper. I keep the Twin Peaks. My name's Crocus. And then Zoro's like, I'm gonna beat the hell out of this guy. And it's funny how he pissed off Zoro and Sanji because they're like the macho men or whatever. Right. And he's just like, I don't care about y'all. Right.
It's hilarious.
It's just, and then the last time they did it, they're like, stop doing that. And then he's like, haven't you guys heard of a recurring gag? So he broke the fourth wall. Yeah. I just love
so
that. It's too funny. And it turns out Crocus is a doctor, and he's trying to help Laboon because when Laboon first came into the Reverse Mountain area, he came with a bunch of pirates, and they were like, oh, well, don't worry, Laboon will come back for you. It's too dangerous for you to come with us. Like, they were buddy-buddy.
Right.
And so, like, he's kept that promise. They asked him to take care of Laboon, and he's been taking care of him.
Right.
But he went sailing one time, and he came back, and he found out that the crew that took care of Laboon before they came in from the West Blue, they either left the Grand Line or they died. Like, he doesn't know. He knows that they're just gone.
They're
basically
not coming back.
Like, they're not coming back. And Laboon, like, refused to accept it, and so he started ramming his head against the Red Line, which is like the one continent on this planet, and it's huge. It goes all the way above the clouds. Like you can't
beat your head through it. Like,
exactly. So he's hurting, and he has all these scars on his head, and he's hurting himself, and so that's why Crocus has to build all this stuff inside of him so that he can, like, make sedatives whenever he needs to, you know, because you can't just do a sedative from the outside for a whale. It's too much blubber. Yeah. I'm just, like, thinking
it makes most sense. Yeah,
it's like better to do it from the inside, right? And so a lot of pirates, he's also pretty strong, Crocus. He's like, he won a pirate ship himself. Like, he mentions it. He mentions
he's also pretty buff still.
Yeah. Like, and he swims through the acid, the stomach acid.
That made me literally so nauseous. Like, they were just chilling in the stomach acid for such a long time. Or at least it felt long. And Crocus was literally swimming in it. And just like, I was just, no.
Yeah, so he's pretty tough.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, he had to build the sedative.
Yeah, so he had to build the sedative. And so a lot of pirates, they like to, like, hunt this whale because they know he stays here. And so they can get meat, like, for a very long time.
Huge.
And he's huge too. He's one of, like, his species is one of the largest whales in the world, like one of the largest creatures. And so that's why.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but his kind of, his species is not usually in that part of the sea, right?
They're usually in the West Blue.
Yeah. So they're like, gotta get this whale. Gotta get this dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of these pirate, people, like, bounty hunt. I don't know if we know they're bounty hunters at this point. So we meet these two characters. Luffy meets them while he's running around inside Laboon.
Yeah.
And they're called Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday. And I want to know, what were your first thoughts when you first met these two?
I loved them right off the bat. They were hilarious. Like, I just loved their extraness. Like, right from the get-go, when Luffy found that door into Laboon and he was trying to make his way back to the crew, and we saw them, they were just like, okay, time to like get this whale. We're like so close, blah 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 blah. Let's go, baby, and like saying like weird stuff. What was it like? Ready, set, go, baby, or something like that. They were just hilarious, and I loved how like they bounced off of each other, and they were so like unique, like their character design and like everything about them was so different, and I just enjoyed it. I thought they were hilarious, and I really thought for a minute, even though from the jump we knew that they were going to like be the villains of this arc or whatever, I just wanted them to be part of the crew. I was like, I want them to somehow find their way into this crew and become like a permanent members, because they're hilarious to me. It was refreshing.
And though that does end up kind of happening, like one of them does. But we'll talk about that later. That's interesting that those are your first thought, that you really like them.
I really like them.
I hate them. Like they're very like conceited and arrogant, and like, oh, we do like they're only afraid of their boss. They're not afraid of like anything else, you know? Like they don't take into the fact that this way, like they don't know the story of Laboon, but like the fact they've been hunting him like repeatedly and like hurting Crocus in the process, it just kind of like pissed me off a little bit. And the fact that they're just hunting him for food, like for their I guess like, yeah, their town is like running low on food, but like I like Laboon, so don't mess with Laboon.
I think it just depends on like the standpoint, because at that point I didn't know the story of Laboon yet.
That's true.
So like when you're looking at it from their point of view, where it's like there's this huge whale that's being protected by an old man that could literally feed our entire village. Of course I'm going to be a bit cocky, especially if I'm a bounty hunter and I like work for one of the we'll talk about all this, but like
they don't know that, by the way, because remember, like the boss's identity is a secret.
Yeah, but like they're afraid of the boss. Like they know that the boss is like super powerful, so they're like, I work for this guy. I can definitely beat this old dude and eat this whale. So I guess it is a bit cocky, and they were kind of getting annoying like once they were like on the ship and whatnot. Yeah. But from the get-go, I did really like them. I thought they were hilarious, and their cockiness, I think, was a bit justified. In a sense.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I have like the
history. Yeah, and you're no, you're wrong. Which I understand.
And also like Miss Wednesday completely changes personalities when we find out who she really is.
She does.
And so that kind of like messes with me, but also she was undercover, so it makes sense that she's a kind of like different person, because I know her really well, and like the fact that she just like it didn't so that kind of messed with me a little bit, but I understand, like rewatching it, I'm like, I get it, she's undercover and she needs to like put on this persona or else they'll figure out who she is. So that's what I think about them. After the whole debacle inside the whale, they all leave the whale inside the whale, and then Luffy starts, after they hear his story, Luffy starts fighting him, and then he's like, yeah, I'm strong, don't you think so? Like, we'll fight. It's like the heartwarming moment. Yeah. Like, oh, we'll fight later. Like, I'll come back round. He made the same promise that the other crew did.
And we know Luffy's gonna keep his.
Of course.
Yeah.
He keeps his promises. Yeah. So it's like a way for him not to bang his head on the wall anymore. Like
something different.
A different goal. Yeah, exactly. So that was good. Like, don't beat up your friends and like challenge them later. But Luffy has like a different way of making people feel better about themselves.
It's charming. Don't try this at home. But if you're Luffy, of course, it works for you.
Yeah. Also, it's like a 400-ton whale. Like, I guess that's the only way you can deal with that. So we're left off on like a good little note with Crocus and Laboon when we leave the Reverse Mountain. But before we leave, we learn a lot of interesting world building aspects about the One Piece world. And it's the fact that when Nami was trying to figure out where they were going to go next, like she had her map and she had her compass kept going round and round and round and round. So it wasn't following the normal north, south, east, west dynamic. And she's like, why isn't it catching on to the magnetic poles? And Crocus explains that every island in the Grand Line has its own magnetic field.
Insane.
And so you need a different kind of compass. You need a log pose, which is kind of like this spherical it's more spherical instead of flat like a normal compass, and it has a string, and there's the little I don't know what that pointy thing is called, but it's attached to the string, and it points to where you need to go, basically. And he's like, this is the only way you can find land in the Grand Line, because this catches on to the magnetic field of the next island, and the next island, and you'll keep following it until you reach the last island. And Crocus tells us what the last island is. Do you remember what it's called?
No.
It's called Raftel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, keep talking about it for a minute.
Okay, so...
If you haven't noticed, it's been a while since we watched this arc, so don't hate me, even though I am forgetful in the other episodes.
It's fine, it's fine. Yeah. We've been a little bit busy. We even took a week off last time. Side note, we have a Twitter, so if you guys want to know when... if we take a break, or like you want to know our thoughts, our Twitter account is called...
Safa and Howl. You should probably change
it.
But you could also just search up He's a Rubber Wet.
Yeah, the podcast name.
Yeah, we should pop up.
Yeah, we had a lot of busy things last week, so that's why. So we took a break. Anyways, end of plug-in. So the Crocus explains that you follow the log pose, like you follow a path, but it doesn't matter what path you take, you will always end up at the last island in the Grand Line. So that means whatever behind Reverse Mountain, right? So they're at the start, and the finish is whatever is behind Reverse Mountain,
right? Or
it could that's the idea basically behind that. And many different people take many different paths, but it doesn't matter where you go. The log poles will always point you to the last island in the Grand Line. And the only person who's ever gotten to that island, Gold Roger. Yeah.
The last king of pirates.
I think that's all for the the world building part.
Right.
And then
and it takes a while for it to set to the next one.
Yes. So it depends on the island. Like one island, it can take a day for it to set in to go to the next island. Right. Another island can take like a month. Like it depends on
how far it is.
No, it depends on just the magnetic field's mood.
Oh. Girl, I don't care how you're feeling. Take me to the next freaking island.
Oh, and then while they're leaving, they say their goodbyes, they have a log post, and then Mr. 9 and Miss Wednesday end up going with them because their log post broke.
Right.
Because they borrowed the one from Crocus. While they're leaving, Crocus says, are these the people you've been waiting for? Roger, and then the episode ends. So what do you think about that?
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot that part. He knew him.
Yeah.
He knew him. That is so cool. I feel like... I shouldn't say a lot. I don't think we've seen a lot of it, but I feel like a lot of things are going to be coming in full circle. Like the characters we've met before are going to, when we were in Locktown, obviously people in Locktown knew Gold Rogers, but the barkeep knew him and had a very close relationship to him, and he met Luffy, and now Kroger.
I'm gonna go to Kroger at the Twin Capes.
No, but he also knew Gold Rogers, and that is just really exciting to me. So hopefully we'll learn more of him, the individual, rather than his story, because I want to know more about the individual.
About Roger?
Yeah, instead of the lore.
Mm-hmm. So Crocus says that he was a doctor on a ship for a while. So if you kind of connect the dots, if he knows Roger, maybe he was a doctor on his ship?
Right. Maybe.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what I would assume if I was watching it for the first time and didn't have any prior knowledge about the series. Do you want to talk about Kobe?
Oh, yeah, Kobe had a little, 2-episode moment where he was going up in the ranks. Oh, him and Hepaleto?
No, Helamepo.
It's been a while. They both, I feel like we're being so loud in one class, but the both of them... The both of them are earning their respects. They're they're just chore boys.
They started out as chore boys. And then when did I explain to you how the marine system works?
I think I was talking about the
I didn't put it in the podcast though. So yeah. So I searched it up. I googled it up the other day, and so the Marines go like this. So on top of the food chain of the Marines is the Fleet Admiral. He's like basically the president of the organization. Mm-hmm. So it's the Fleet Admiral, and then we have the admirals. There's 3 of them. There's always 3 of them, and they're like right under. They're like commander, vice president, commander in chief. Like they're the 3 most powerful people in the Marines, other than the Fleet Admiral. There's the admirals, and then there's a bunch of vice admirals, and one of these vice admirals came to East Blue, where Kobe and Helemepo are at.
Right, because Captain Morgan was finally like arrested and was going to be charged and whatnot, or sentenced.
He was going to a prison in I think in HQ, like Marine HQ.
Yeah, and so that dude came over to be like, all right, let's haul this guy off, but Captain Morgan had a different, plan. He was ready to literally sacrifice his own son to get out of it. And so he did, in a way. He took a small little boat and he was ready to sail off, and he took his son with him. And Kobe was not about it. Kobe was ready to fight for him because he was like, that's my friend. Even though the dude was he was mean. I'll keep it PG, but he was horrible to Kobe.
He threatened his life, remember?
Yeah, he was so mean to him. But Kobe was like, no, like, we're both chore boys, I guess. That means something. No, it doesn't. I'm sorry, but
Kobe's
sure
just super nice.
He's super adorable and too sweet. But he was like, no, you can't just let him take the dude. Like, that's just so horrible. So he started swimming off after the boat. And Captain Morgan was like, you can't do anything to me. Like, you're nothing compared to me. So
because the Marines were going to like just shoot the entire boat and kill Helemepo along with Morgan.
Exactly. Right? And Kobe was like, no casualties, please. Just focus on one guy. Let me save my friend.
Yeah.
So they both tried beating on Morgan, right? They were like trying to fight, and Morgan's just standing there like not even budging. He's just like, okay. So they finally I think Captain Morgan just throws his son off, right? They both he throws them both off the boat, and he just sails off by himself, as he should have from the get go. Like he could have just jumped onto the boat and then threw his son off, but he wanted somebody to abuse. He wanted somebody to do everything, and abuse along the way. So they finally went back to the ship, and that's when the vice admiral or whatever.
Oh wait,
was like,
do you remember how he got cut, and then they were like, "Oh, he died," and then he didn't die. He was just sleeping.
Oh yeah, he was so weird. Okay, that guy is so weird. I enjoyed him.
His name is Vice Admiral Garp.
Yeah.
Okay, he's an important character. I've got to remember that.
Oh, he's important. Oh yeah, they're going to the Grand Line too, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, everybody's coming into the Grand Line.
And Smoker is going to.
Oh my god, this is all coming back to me. We need to watch another episode. They're all going to the Grand Line. But yeah, so the dude was weird, and he noticed what Kobe and
Helemepo had in their heart.
Right, and he was like, maybe I could mold these guys into something.
And he like threatened them. He's like, if you don't come with me, I have to kill you. And they're like, no. But like, and they end up going to HQ and to train and stuff like that. And then when the Marines go back to the East Blue town, the little girl who was threatened by Helemepo's dog in the beginning, she's like,
they didn't say goodbye.
Yeah, which is really sad.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. Did I tell you that she grows up to end up working in like a Marine kitchen?
You did, yeah.
So yeah, so I think she's doing that so she can like meet them again, maybe.
That's so adorable. Wait, so they haven't met her, but they haven't seen her again yet?
Not that I know of. But Helemepo didn't really have like a goal. No, Helemepo's goal now is to like get back to that status where people like serve him.
Exactly, he's just laying there eating apples, grapes out of somebody else's hand, and just like chilling, which I mean is not too bad. I think that's everybody's dream, where you're just living lavishly. I don't fault him for it.
Yeah, and he's like, the only way I can do that in this situation is to become like a good Marine and like go on missions and like get more acclaim and become more famous, basically. Right. So he's kind of like, he's taking the situation that he has and he's trying to like make a goal for himself along with Kobe.
Respectable.
Yeah, which is really cool. And like Kobe went back to that mentality where he's like, no, we can't do it. Like it's impossible. Like we can't train at night and then do cleaning chores in the mornings. Too much. Like when are we gonna sleep? And then what Helemepo uses his words against him, and he's like, I already decided. And then Kobe's like, oh, I'm going back to the way it used to be. He's like, wait, I'm coming. And they start training every night.
Yeah.
So that they can get stronger. And then they fight Garp, remember? Because they mentioned Luffy or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, wait. No, you're going to have to tell me that.
So...
She's so annoyed. She's like, oh, why do you forget? Okay, no, keep going.
No, it's fine. So, like, a bunch of Marine, like, higher-ranking Marines, they're talking about, like, how Luffy has a new bounty, and it's, like, 30 million, I believe. Or, yeah, 30 million. And so, Helemepo and Kobe's like, oh, you're conquering your dream. Like, he's getting a wanted poster. That's don't dream to get wanted posters, kids.
You're not cool for being a criminal, okay? This only works in the One Piece world, not in the real world.
And so Kobe's like all excited for him. He's like, he's getting closer to his dream. I need to get closer to mine. And Helemepo was like, shut up. We're in Marine HQ.
Right?
You can't say you're friends with pirates.
I remember that. And then he ends up hearing them anyway.
And then Vice Admiral Garp ends up hearing them. And then he's like, who's your friend? And they're like, oh yeah. And then they end up like battling him. He's like, you're gonna tell me who your friends are? And then Kobe's like, oh, Helemepo has nothing to do with this. Luffy's my friend. And Helemepo's like, we have to take joint responsibility. I was like, Helemepo, 10 out of 10.
Right?
Best friend.
Real quick.
Yeah. I mean, his dad took him hostage. And
that is a life changer. I think I would change very quickly too if that happened to me.
And we find out like his dad was abusive to him when he was younger, so
which isn't very surprising. The guy is just a horrible person.
Exactly. And so they end up fighting Garp, and then Garp is like so like impressed by them, but they don't beat him because he's Vice Admiral. He's like 2 under like the top dog. So
and he was like, I'll keep your secret. It's okay. I won't tell people that you're friends with a pirate.
Yeah. And then we leave them off there. Like they're training with Garp. They are at Marine HQ. Kobe's getting closer to his dream of becoming an admiral.
Right.
And yeah, so
I felt like that ending was nice. That those 2 little episodes of, I think there were 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of Kobe were cute way of ending like that quote unquote arc. I don't know if it is an arc, the Reverse Mountain, and also how it ended with Luffy making that promise to Laboon. It was super sweet. It was just like a little moment back to back until we get into Wispy Peak, and it was just like action filled, which was really nice. I think it was a nice contrast.
I'm glad that the anime like went back to Kobe and Helemepo because it's only shown in like the chapter covers in the manga, and so it's kind of like showing us like how each person would accomplish their dream. Like Kobe and Luffy like met at the same place, like episode 1 Kobe is there, right? And now they're like kind of they're divulging their paths, and we're seeing how they're gonna reach their dreams, like each one. And they're gonna end up having to like conflict with each other, but it's nice kind of seeing like those 2 perspectives, and I really liked.
I'm so excited for that conflict of interest to finally play out, because from the beginning I was like, no, you can't be friends with a Marine if you're no, but I mean, I guess. Especially if he wants to be a good Marine. If it was a corrupt Marine, I would have been like, okay, that's smart. But I want to see how it plays out. Are they going to honor their job titles or their friendship? It's very interesting.
Yeah, like you can still be friends and fight. I think that's like the idea. Yeah,
I think because they're both so honorable, they're just going to be like, I have to do what I have to do, but it's no personal like attack against you. It's just the principle of the matter, which is very mature. Yeah. So. Yep.
So we're at 30 minutes. We need to end this. Yeah. We will see you guys next time in the Bounty Hunter's nest of Whiskey Peak. Next time on He's a Rubber What?